Super Bowl commercials. It took place this year, as it does every year. Super Bowl commercials have become an institution in the world. The big game, the Super Bowl. And this man has been holding it in for 2 whole weeks. So
I don't know about all that's a big sell, but like I don't know. I actually rewatched or not rewatched. Let me rephrase that because there's a
Uh-oh.
point to this. I watched the clips that I sent you, and I started with this year's.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as bad as I remember. Now
Oh, okay.
the reason why is because a lot of the bullshit was cut out of the video that I sent you. The video I sent you had okay, so my biggest issue is that the Super Bowl commercials didn't really feel like Super Bowl commercials, at least from what I remember.
Okay.
And that's why I sent you
Older ones.
past 3 years
Right.
because I was curious myself, like, is this a new thing? Is this kind of like the way it's been? I'm not sure. And then I went back 20 years and did another three of '06, '05, and '04.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it's too far off. Now, I
Okay.
don't think it's too far off. I would be a liar if I'm not saying I would lean more into nostalgia when I see the '06, '05, and '04.
Okay.
I do think those were there were more over the top commercials.
Okay.
At least from my memory, I could be completely wrong. That's why I'm trying to be careful here. But when I went back and watched the 2026 ones, it wasn't this year. I guess it wasn't that bad. My problem with the commercials is that there were a lot of just normal commercials. That I don't remember too much of. Maybe you can help me out with that. Maybe your memory is a little bit better. But
Okay.
like, I felt like there were just a lot of normal commercials that would have been on any other day. And I always remember people coming like going really hard on like satire or funny or serious for their specific commercials. And it just felt like so many of these were average, just normal commercials. Also, in
Okay.
comparison to the 2026 and the last 3 years, 25 and 24, this one obviously had way more fucking AI than I think the 2024 one had made mention to AI once. 2025, not to say that they didn't, but in the clip that I sent you, I don't think there was any AI mentioned in it at all. And 2026 not
Explode.
only sold you on AI, playing in your face, by the way, literally making commercials based off of your concerns about AI and ending it with it's not that serious,
Because it
but then
isn't. But go ahead.
actually having AI commercials where they were having, and this is what I made mention to before, how like it's really weird that we're the target now. Like when we were kids growing up, like it was funny stuff, but like there were nuanced things we didn't know about. There were people on the TV from those shows before us. So
Right.
now to see all the AI with all the actors and TV shows and movies that like we grew up with, it just felt weird being like the older target audience. I don't know. What did you think about the commercials this year? They grew on me. They grew. There were a couple bangers that I didn't really realize in the moment.
Far more AI. I'll give it to you. Far more AI than I anticipated. Um, they felt, to your point earlier, and maybe that's why I kind of take the commercials these days different than I did in the early 2000s. Like when I watched the nostalgia ones that you sent me, because
Mm,
I watched them backwards. I did '06, 2000. I did 2026, 25, 24, and then I went '06, '05, '04. Like I just went in the
okay,
reverse
it's
order,
a good way to do it. Yeah.
just to kind of see like if there's a decline or like whatever the case may be, right? Just to see how
Right.
different it is. And '04, '05, what stood out the most was '04, '05, '06 did have over the top commercials for sure. But I didn't feel like a lot of those people in the commercials were people that I knew. And then if you look at
Right.
24, 25, 26, it's almost all celebrity based. All,
Right. We
all-
were the target.
but the joke in the new ones is, for even though it's a lot of celebrities, the joke trend seems to be it's celebrities doing either regular or mundane things. So it's like, for instance, in 2026, my commercial of the year, I'm sorry, I went full cringe. I accepted the cringe on top of I just engulfed myself in cringe. That Dunkin' Donuts ad had to be one of the funniest fucking things because,
Really?
to your point, because
the AI ad, they got you, dude. Oh,
because
they got you, dude.
because here's why. Because here's why. To your point, what you said about us now being the target audience, that nostalgia bubble was for me, right? Urkel was in there.
Stefan was in there.
Yes, excuse you. Yes, excuse me.
Right.
Stefan was down there. They had Jennifer Aniston, de. Everyone who was in this clip were, first of all, were all de-aged. Then they were all artificially created with their outfits and da da da. Tom Brady, it being in the windows, like, you like apples? How do you like these nuts? Just like, what? That's not the line at all. They did another Dunkin' Donuts one where Ben was doing the boy band thing with J-Lo, and then Matt Damon
was funny.
Matt Damon was just like, it's really hard to be your friend, dude. Like, he just doesn't want to do this.
It's like, you said you were going to support me.
Yeah. And he was reading it. He was like, "How do you like them apples?" I'm so sorry. I didn't know what this was gonna be.
Dude, the multiple jokes, the layered jokes on that. So he's like, "You're distracted by the pinstripes," is fucking hilarious. And then when they were leaving, they were like, "Okay, you guys can go. Tom, you can stay." And Tom stayed.
And then Tom stayed. Right? Exactly.
I mean, you have to do what she says.
So everybody goes, but Tom, you can stay. I do enjoy. Like, there was a new commercial this year with Shane Gillis and Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning got the last beer. So that's like, well, at least we got this keg, and then the keg goes down the hill, and everyone starts tumbling down the hill to try to get the keg. And I'm laughing because Peyton goes down the hill. I'm saying, well, why is Peyton? He's the only one with a beer. He's the only one here who doesn't have to chase after the keg. I don't know. It was weird. It was so funny because I was watching the game in and out. I was waiting for the halftime show, right? But I was watching the game intermittently. It was definitely on the background while I was doing work. I was looking up, looking down, looking up, looking down. I didn't even watch the commercials.
You didn't watch the commercials?
I didn't really. No, it wasn't until you hit me up and said that you wanted to see them. Wanted to talk about them, that I looked them up. And I looked them up and I watched them and I was like, okay. Then I started kind of getting into them because now I was watching them like in a row. So now I'm like vibing to them and watching them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely, it was cool. It was cool to kind of like just go down that path. No Marvel trailer though. I'm pissed because they did do. Like you said earlier about how you felt like there was a lot of regular commercials. All of the movie trailers that I did see were already out. There was nothing really new released as far as that goes. Some of the product commercials got a little creative, but as far as the entertainment commercials, no new anything.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh,
yeah. I don't know. I really liked so from watching these back, Uber Eats have been on fire with that whole football sells food shit. I love that. That shit is so good. Uber Eats. Shout out to Michelob Ultra. Their commercials have been pretty consistent through and through.
And here's a point. I want to see if you agree with me or not. Because remember before you were saying you felt like the older commercials got way more creative. They were going all out for those commercials. And now we're starting to feel like they're a little bit more mundane. They're a little bit more, they're not as crazy. They don't really go for it as much. Can I drop just a thought on why that might be? Because if we're being honest, Super Bowl commercials are the most expensive for marketers, right? To purchase time during the Super Bowl is like the most expensive bracket of time that you can purchase as an advertiser. I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe the reason why they're putting less effort into them is because it doesn't really matter. Because it doesn't really matter. You just said earlier, shout out to Michelob Ultra. What a creative commercial. They always tend to do something really, really cool. I've never purchased a Michelob Light in my fucking life. I don't know anybody who's ever had a Michelob Light. The advertising and being creative is one thing, and getting attention on your product and getting attention on your eyes, but is it resulting in sales? Because if it's not, I can start to see
the
why.
The new world probably not,
Yeah,
and that time probably more so, I would imagine. But today, yeah, I mean, you're probably right. But I think one of my it sticks out to me. I don't know, like I hesitate saying it's my favorite, but I really liked it. It even made my wife laugh. She was fucking dying. The Melissa McCarthy one.
the elf.
No. She was like a Spanish thing. It was like Melissa McCarthy as Melissa McCarthy in Melissa. And the Spanish guy's like trying to talk to her in Spanish, and he's like, "Do you speak Spanish?" She's pretty much like no, so he like puts lip gloss on her lips.
She starts talking in Spanish.
She gets more and more Hispanic as the commercial, and then as the doctor's like putting lip gloss on her lips, they get really close, like they're gonna kiss, and then they turn and do that infamous Spanish like shocked in Spanish scene where the lady's like, "Oh." Yo, that shit has me dying every time I watch it back and forth, man. She is funny, dude. She cracks me up. But after, like I said, after going back and watching it again, I think it was more in the moment because there was a bunch of bullshit in between so many of the actual creative, funny commercials that like it didn't really feel like the commercials were that funny. But when they stitched a lot of that shit out and you just got the video of like the funny stuff together,
Right.
it was relatively on par. It wasn't nearly as bad as I like remember it in the moment. So no, it was good. It was all right.
See, now I'm pissed that we didn't get you in the moment because you would have roasted this shit like a week or so ago.
Oh yeah, I was in my this AI bullshit. Yeah, I was in my AI bag there. That was kind of annoying.
There was quite a few uh, Super Bowl commercial moments throughout history where because you set me down the rabbit hole because you sent me playlists to like that were all clipped together. But once I started watching one and then one and then one, all of a sudden now I started getting recommended from like other years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, man, there was one where like the horses were playing football or some shit. And I was just like, God damn. Because what was that? Budweiser. Budweiser, I'm assuming they just got grandfathered in. They get time every year. Budweiser. They something about Budweiser and the NFL. They just love each other. They always manage to find time. Some of these new products that get engaged in the Super Bowl, because it's a tough. Today's advertisers have a tough job because the Super Bowl is where it has the most eyes. But if we're being real, there's not a lot of young eyes watching. Not a lot of teenagers and a lot of early 20-year-olds watching the goddamn Super Bowl. I think our generation might be the last of like the youth that sat down at like 13, 14 years old going, oh, I can't wait for the big game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm around older kids a lot. Zero chatter about the fucking Super Bowl. Like, none. Like, not a lot of hype, not a lot of excitement going into this kind of a fucking game. And then when it was over, if you look at the score, at the end of the game, what was it, 29-13 or some shit? It's like, oh.
Yeah, they started opening up a little bit. Both defenses started to get real tired.
Yeah, what happened was that the commissioner gave the Iggy to the coaches, okay, let's start scoring some points down before we lose the crowd. And
that's an assumption. You lost them at that fucking point. It's fourth in like half of the fourth quarter.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But they're trying to for everybody that says wrestling is stupid for scripting everything, and they should just be like sports and not script anything. Y'all should start scripting your sports better. Because this is bullshit. I would
call Triple H. He can book it for you.
No, don't call Triple H. Let's get a fresh mind on this one. I'm just saying, like,
Oh
we
my
need
God, are we
we
here
need some
already with that?
Triple H is busy. His plate is full right now. He's got shit going on, and Tony Khan is also busy. We need some fresh eyes and a fresh mind. We need someone who knows the game of football but can make it a work. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, really give the people. Because I'm gonna tell you something right now. If the NFL really did script this shit, and I'm not saying that they don't have their hands in certain aspects of the game to kind of, like, steer things in a particular direction, but if they would just flat out say, yeah, we're just gonna start booking from now on, and we'll decide who's in the Super Bowl, these two teams would not have been in the fucking Super Bowl. There's no fucking way. The only way that this worked was because, like you said earlier, smash mouth, straight up American football, play it out, put the ball in the field, let the guys play, let's see what happens. And that's how you get this. But this is how you get a whole bunch of people watching the Super Bowl going, man. Because you're absolutely right.
What happens when you let people who are not fans into just the masses into something?
Well, here's the thing. You got to meet the NFL in the middle on this, because the people who watch the Super Bowl don't watch football past the AFC NFC title game. So it's your sport for 17 straight weeks, for the first round of the playoffs, for the divisional round, and for the championship round. It's all you. The general public does not watch those games. All you, straight up football, enjoy. That last game is the game that everybody watches, whether they want to or not. They're just at the house while it's on.
No,
with a bunch of
you know
people.
what? We can end it here, but do you know why it's not fair? Because you know what used to be the filler in that? Because that's not true. But do you know what used to be the filler in that? The filler was the commercials were amazing. Our longevity of the time, not like 10 commercials out of a fucking whole Super Bowl. There were a lot more commercials that were entertaining to watch. Social gathering, which isn't too much of a thing anymore, where the people who didn't watch football at that time were talking to each other while the real men drank beer and watched the television, right?
The social aspect of things.
Right, the social aspect, that's also gone. So now what you have is the football fan. This is just a joke. There are plenty of women who are more football fans than the actual husband is. That's a real thing. But you have the football fan, then you have the other person who's not a football fan sitting there with their significant other watching the football game. Like, man, this is a really boring game. You're not supposed to be sitting here watching this. You're supposed to be talking to other people until the commercials come back on. Like, that's how this works. It has nothing to do with the game. It's everything else surrounding it.
So your point is that the only reason there's any criticism at all is because they're not watching this. Yes, yeah,
you're not. For the people that you say that only watch it at this time, they're not supposed to be watching the game. That's not what they're here for. They're here for the fun extracurricular activities, and those activities has completely changed. They're not the same. So those people are going to be fucking bored watching it because the shit that they liked isn't really a thing anymore. It is what it is. God. We're here now, boys.
And you know what? You just gotta, hey, look, the facts are the facts are. You gotta sit there and you have to watch the game.
You have to watch this great fucking defense. One of the greatest defenses I've ever seen in my whole fucking life.
Ever of all time?
The dark side. Oh my God, what a fucking... It's funny too, because I haven't really watched a lot of football up until this point. So when I started watching the promos and shit, and they're calling themselves the dark side, they wanted to call us the Legion of Doom, but we want our own name. You know, we're the dark side.
Isn't that what the Seattle team was? Weren't they the Legion of Boom? That other
Seattle the team? Legion of Boom, Doom, whatever the fuck it was called, but that was that Seattle team with Marshawn Lynch on it. And that whole secondary that was just fucking monstrous back there. I can't even, dude, I haven't watched football in so long. I'm over talking shit. I haven't even got to watch football. But when they were talking about, I do remember the Legion of Doom or Legion of Boom or whatever. So when I'm watching them, I'm hearing them talk about it, I'm like, I'm an old head, right? So I'm like, y'all trying to compare yourself. Y'all nothing like that. Then I watch these dudes play. they different. That team was, bro. I don't remember a football game where I watched the line of scrimmage more in my entire life because that ball never moved from the fucking line of scrimmage. I watched them run a fucking nickel defense, or was it a nickel or a dime? I think there were three linemen, and the rest were linebackers in secondary. They ran the ball up the middle, and mind you, it was wide the fuck open.
Yeah,
Not only
did
the offense have a center guard and tackle blocking the two defensive linemen, so they almost had two people each, but they also had another blocker following the running back, and those two defensive linemen closed it by themselves, stopped them right at they had 1 yard for a first down, stuffed them by themselves. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? I've never seen.
That's the flip of a coin. You see great
Bro,
defense. I see shitty offense. Like, how does that work?
Oh,
how do you not? How do you? If they put a 3-man front on defense and you can't run the ball with a lead blocker?
Yeah, but okay. That's you know what? That's a good point because I see one thing, you see another. You see an ass front line. You see an ass front line. I see a defensive line that is fucking nasty, dude.
But here's the thing: even you have to admit, but like in any given 3-man front that gets a full O-line with a lead tackle and a fucking up the middle play, no audibles. They stuck right to the play. They said, "Fuck it, we have the advantage. They're only giving us 3. We only have to face 3." Worst case scenario, once we split the 3, we have a middle linebacker we have to worry about. Yeah,
we close. They were like,
they'll close the gap. Yeah, they'll close in the gap. We just got to get past the 3 to secure our first down, and then we'll just re-rack and see what's going on. Couldn't even do that.